Maybe as a final word, democracy and citizenship are really twins, no? You engage, the process of engaging in building a democratic society is a process of actualizing your citizenship. You're part of a political community. For the longest time, citizens in this country, in many parts of the world, have been seen as spectators. That's how they have been treated, as outside, as people who are just watching. And I think that whole idea is increasingly being challenged. And I think it's time that we embrace that we're no longer just spectators, but also as active shapers and makers of policy, of visions and experiments, and bringing all your ideas into the arena, even if they sound crazy. At least you are able to bring something that can be further debated upon and that can be further refined.
Walden?
Well, just a couple of things. One is democracy is an unfinished project, okay? And it has, the idea is eventually really democracy being self-rule. And the most profound system of self-rule is what I would call direct democracy. So even representative democracy as we see it right now, I really would not stop there and make that the ideal, but I think we really should be moving always towards more and more and more self-rule. So that's the first thing that I would say. So it is unfinished, and I doubt whether it will ever be finished, okay? Because my retrogressions and there are advances, and this is the way that things go. But the important thing is that it is that we as a generation dedicate ourselves to finishing as much of that project as possible. The second thing is yung si Franz Sherman, who wrote The Logic of World Power, he had a very interesting dynamic between this interplay of interests and values. No? Basically, that interests are structural and class interests that always want to freeze a process. And values, is this process of knowledge, ethics, vision that wants to unfreeze that process because there are certain things that are desirable objectives or values to be able to attain. Okay, so history is a dynamic interplay between interests and values. And here is where I think the people like the younger generation come in, because oftentimes it is people who do not have a stake yet, or too much of a stake in a structure of rule, in a system of rule. Those who are still floating, that in fact become the elements of change, become the harbingers of value. And I would say that the youth, the students, this is really the explosive stratum, no? In which you become the agents of values and change, So yun lang nakikita ko that if we are going to move this democratic process forward, very much, I think, a central role will be played by the younger generations, the generations that are out, in fact, to question, dismantle the reigning structure of rule and interests. So just remember that that is sort of something that I think many of you come to a realization at some point or another, and maybe it would be good to really leap at the opportunity before you get enmeshed in the structure of interests. Thank you very much.
Ang pinakamahalagang aspeto ng discussion natin ngayon on democracy and democratization ay walang iba kundi kayo. Kayo. At if you don't act, if you don't get involved, then our democracy would be static, it would die. Democratization would not work. So, parting words po. Get out of your comfort zones, get involved, go out and join an org, join a movement, and be part of something bigger. Yun lang po at magandang tanghali sa ating lahat.